Hi there, my name is Kay Moon and I'm a Western astrologer and Twin Flame channel, and this is a video about the Aries New Moon taking place on April 17th at 7:51 a.m. If you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States, definitely check a time zone converter for your local time. This will be the lunar update for the Divine Counterpart Collective. I love this new moon. It has so many rich aspects that are facilitating change, facilitating growth, facilitating realignment to where we're meant to be. Most of that happening because we see Chiron and Eris in Aries conjunct this new moon. It's opening up a sensitivity to feeling rejected, but also sharing lessons and teaching with other people, whether you do that from the light or the shadow, through punishment or through elevation. It's going to be a matter of choice and a matter of emotional regulation. We also see aspects to this new moon semi-sextile from Uranus, so big change. We see semi-sextile from Pholus, so self-protection. In addition to that, we see a sextile from Chariclo, so there is some divine intervention and support available at this new moon. And then lastly, we have a very loose square from Jupiter to the new moon here. This is a very potent energy in the divine masculine energetic fields for this reason. I strongly recommend, if you have not already listened to the Lightworker lunar update, then please stop now, go listen to that, and come back, because it's going to lay some foundation in terms of why I'm interpreting what I'm seeing for divine masculine, Jupiter, and divine feminine, Juno, in the way that I am. It's also going to help you avoid some of the pitfalls that can show up at this new moon in connection and knowing what's coming. Otherwise, it'll be very easy to just walk into a self-created pothole, unfortunately. All right, let's talk about Juno inside of Aquarius and this part two update. Here's Juno. She is conjunct Pluto. She is in shadow and has been since about March 14th for her retrograde period, which begins June 5th and goes to September 16th. I recommend you write that down. The themes we're facing now will be themes that we revisit during the retrograde, many of them having to do with what's Pluto, power in groups, what's Juno, partnerships. So this will have to do with our personal power when it comes to dealing with other people and alliances, certainly in business, but also romance-wise, reproductive health, and shared power in partnerships, as I mentioned. She's going to be retrograding once she's at the fourth degree of Aquarius now. She's going to come out here to the 11th degree. Then she's going to turn back and move back into Capricorn to the 25th degree. And then she'll walk forward again. These two walks forward are known as pre and post shadow. The shadow periods are where we discover the themes, pre-shadow, and then work through the issues and themes post-shadow in a retrograde cycle. She started pre-shadow, like I said, March 14th. She goes retrograde June 5th through September 16th, and then we'll talk about post-retrograde shadow when we get there. But essentially, Juno remains in Aquarius and inside of Capricorn all of 2026. As a result of this kind of being locked in, the Juno themes have a lot to do with community and structure, collective connection, and personal boundaries. Stepping into something new while wrapping up everything from something old. We'll go more into detail as we grow together, But these are the themes that this retrograde is beginning to lay out for us as she is in shadow now. We see a sextile for Juno from this fun combination here: Neptune, Mercury, Mars, and Saturn. It's a sextile, just a regular sextile, not a semi-sextile. Here in Aries, they're floating through the 2nd to 7th degree of Aries. This is generating a lot of empowered vision and action in this combination for divine feminine energetic grids. And you may already be feeling this sense of can do, must do, full throttle, produce work now energy in the fields for your divine feminine energy. This is an energy of coming into radiance in a feminine way and feminine discipline, which isn't about conquering the body or the third dimension. It's about following the path of the body toward optimization and flowing with the third dimension as a platform for spiritual, that's Pisces, and mental Aquarian well-being, especially when it comes to personal action. The actions that we take are indeed governed by Aries. Neptune as the bookend or anchor here brings that Piscean peace to it, that flow to it. It's necessary both for the collective and for ourselves that we find our way into that personal alignment, that personal flow. This energy is a both and power influx for divine feminine energies. If you're grounded, you'll feel this as a very stabilizing and clarifying time about where you need to be and who you need to be to move forward in your life. There'll be almost an intuitive certainty about what needs attention and action and what doesn't. This is that flow state that you can enter into without ever needing to look at your to-do list. You just kind of move and things organically begin to line up in terms of time, in terms of task, in terms of things just organically unflowing in the right order and sequence for you. Very easy access to flow state. However, on the other hand, and you, like I said, this is both and you may experience both. If grounding is an ongoing challenge for you, focus is an ongoing challenge. Trusting yourself and trusting your flow state, if that's an ongoing challenge, this may present as feeling overwhelmed and pull in many different directions at once. The guidance here is to do everything that you can do, not everything you can think of, but everything you can do and then trust. The reason why I'm talking about doing action, this stellium here is in Aries. This isn't about relaxing and being. This is an energy that's about movement. Aries is a sign of movement. It's a sign of taking action. This isn't about waiting. This isn't about leaving it up to the divine. This is about taking steps. Okay? The divine may point out, do this, this, this in that order, but not doing it and non-participation will pile onto the electrical overwhelm the divine feminine energy will feel in Aquarius, especially since there is very loose but still quite present aspect from Uranus in Taurus. That electricity is going to be felt in the body if you're not taking action right now. And you may feel quite overwhelmed. So, taking action first, regulate your nervous system, then just start moving. There is an aspect of psychological science. I forget what it's called, but there's, and some of you may know, let me know this in the comments if you do. You don't have motivation before the task, you gain motivation after you start the task. This is an energy that speaks to that phenomenon in psychological science. So let me know if you know what that is in the comments, because I certainly don't recall what the name of that is, but that's what this energy is speaking to. The guidance here, like I said, is to do everything you can do, not everything you can think of. Focus on what you can do, and then trust. Allow the universe to align with your intentions so the magic can happen. There's also, like I said, this trine from Uranus to the divine feminine. And this is where the magic apps actually happens. This is the energy that's making dramatic about faces and turnarounds in the divine feminine energetic fields. It's been here since the second week of March and building since then, with a peak point around the 27th of March through the date of this new moon. This energy speaks to huge change in energetic foundation. Now, for some of you, this is going to straight up be financial, given that she's connected with Pluto. Pluto is other people's money. Uranus is in Taurus. Taurus is your own money. For some of you, this is just going to be about money, where your money situation changes out of the blue, or you change it for yourself because what was working is no longer working. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just something new that wasn't there before. Now, for some, this is going to be a spiritual change in the foundation of the connection. Again, not good, not bad, just recognizing you're on a different timeline than you once were in your connection. This could be a changing of partners or a changing of partnership agreements that allows you both to come to mutual understanding this year after a period of challenge concerning change that begins in the now time. Okay, so challenges, both of you changing this year, feels challenging to get on the same page this year. It will eventually come into a place of balance. Okay, but the change process has to happen first. Okay, that's the conclusion, or I thought I want to leave you with that. We also see Juno in a very loose square to Ceres in Taurus. Here's Ceres in Taurus. It's quite loose, but worth mentioning because Juno is also conjunct Pluto. Jointly, Pluto represents many things, Ceres does too, but when both of them are in some form of communication with a planet together, they take on the energy of closure, ending, and completion for that planet, because that's what the two of them have in common. For some, it may feel like closure is the only option, ending, especially in partnerships, and she represents partnership. But that's actually not what this is. This ending speaks to a closure of a chapter, not the ending of connection. Now, if you want it to be the ending of a connection, it can be, but that's not what this looks like to me. Option is there for you to decide what's best for you. Okay. We see Juno in square to the creation goddess here. She is retrograde there in Scorpio. Lots of Plutonic and Scorpionic themes here. Um, as the creation goddess is retrograde at this time, this can be challenges in generating the next chapter fully in connection, as Scorpio is our alchemical sign of blending. And so you may be clear one chapter has closed, but what the next chapter is and what it looks like, not clear yet. You may be clear that there's an ending to connection for some of you, but whether or not, you go into a resurrection cycle of that connection, or you go on to a different partner, not clear yet. As she is retrograde, this can be challenges in generating the next chapter, like I said, fully. And for others, this speaks to challenges opening up a new financial doorway. The access here, though, is through your discipline and channeling that feminine flow, as I mentioned earlier. It's not about overworking yourself. It's about focus, tuning out distraction, getting support as needed from friends and family, medically and mental health wise, if that's required, hiring support if you need to do that, but not letting yourself fall prey to old traps that stopped your evolution before. A word on that. There are so many supports now for the neurospicy community to get going on projects and find focus, flow, and motivation to take action, definitely tap in where you need to in order to let this flow state come online for you. Do not let a diagnosis hold you back when the sky is making every resource available to you. Yes, you may need to step out of your comfort zone and do something new, try something new. But this is part of what opens a new timeline. Doing new and being new to get new. Don't wallow in the old. That's going to keep you stuck. It's time to try something new. Okay, so before we're about to talk about Jupiter in a minute here, the divine masculine energy, but I just want to say, if you feel like you could use some support, just anchoring into direction, clarity for your year. What is happening in my connection? Something shifted, but I don't know where I'm at with it. There is a savings code in the community section of this channel. I think it's like in this second post down. If you feel guided to book and have a look at the path forward in 2026. And in that post, there's also best questions to ask at this time since we're starting an astrological new year for your connection, given what the channeled messages were for this year. These are the last relationship sessions available for April, and then I'm on a pause until after I reopen Star Club again in June, May if you're on the private list. If you'd like to book, now is the time. I was shocked how quickly the first release of sessions sold out. I released a second set of sessions this over the weekend. Those sold out. This is the third set I'm releasing. I don't recommend you wait. If you know you'd like some clarity, grab that code, go over to kmoonastro.com, pause this video, book your session now, and then come back to this video because the sessions are so limited now that I'm teaching more. Okay. And definitely check out those 12 questions. If you're not guided to book with me, you can still use those questions for personal reflection to tap into your own higher guidance. Your chart shows the path forward for you and your counterpart in a relationship session, but you can also use your own intuition as well. Both are valid ways moving forward. But if you want some validation, some definitive clarity, your chart will absolutely show what's happening right now. Okay. Let's take a look at what's going on with Jupiter here. My guidance team is telling me to be specific. Fine, let me pause this because somebody's going to ask, and then I'm going to be like, why do I have to do this for you? Let me just do it for you now. Hang on. Okay, over here on the post section, right here, if you scroll down here, this one, 10 sessions going fast, open this. Here are the questions, okay, for you to be asking if you decide to get a session. All right. And then there's the link to book and the code to book if you want to save a little money. Okay, let's go back to this. It's so funny the number of times to me that I end up being asked, K Moon, how do I sign up for the private list? K Moon, how do I change my email address on your private list? K Moon, how do I book a session? And I'm like, how are you not looking? Like, it's right there. So they're like, just tell them so that you're not having to go back and answer questions. Just, they were like, just make it obvious. So, okay, I made it very obvious. Let's talk about Jupiter now. Here, divine masculine energy. Here's an opposition to Pholus, and this is where how we manage our emotions and the way we feel in our connections, family, friends, teams, and romance at this time matters. It can get very toxic very quickly without us meaning to, especially if we're holding on to where does Pholus sit? Old structures, old realities, old ways of managing the discomfort of change. With Pholus, in the sign of the old and indicating toxicity itself. It's imperative that we don't chase comfort in the face of change. If it's changing, let it. And if you can participate in it, direct it, guide it. Where we fail to do this at this new moon, we will find that there are consequences for not integrating the lessons of the retrograde of Jupiter inside of Cancer in our lives, that we may have worked very hard to build. Like we work, it can undermine some of our structures in our lives, and we may have worked very hard to build these structures. But if we just collapse right back into the old, it's like we're agreeing with, I can't change, nothing changes, I can't be new, nothing's new. This is too hard. Universe, take me back on a healing loop through what used to be. I don't want to try to be new. The test will be here. It's not even much of a test. It's just the universe like, okay, so this is just what's unfolding around you. Can you be new in this? We have a sextile to Venus here for Jupiter. This makes for one of the very best transits of the year in love. So if you're open to partnership with someone new, or even a new beginning and clean slate with someone you've known, it's really imperative that you're using this opportunity leading up to this new moon to put yourself out there and connect. With Venus conjunct Uranus here, okay, this makes for a perfect time for sudden run-ins and sudden emotional connections in the third dimension, as both Venus and Uranus are in Taurus, the third dimension. Especially for those of you whose counterpart is no longer with you for any reason, this is an opportunity for you to get paired with someone who can and will receive an activation for divine love and who will be able to match you as Venus joins Uranus. Anytime we see Mars speaking to Uranus, Venus speaking to Uranus, these are our human aspect parts of femininity and masculinity. However, when they meet with Uranus, the original divine counterpart, they do receive an activation that can elevate. So meeting somebody under a Venus-Uranus or Mars-Uranus aspect can really turn this into divine love quite quickly, even if it wasn't originally necessarily that. So I like to see this in the sky, especially for those of you who are clear. Yeah, I'm ready for something new. I'm ready for something different. Okay. For those of you hoping to reconnect or deepen with a counterpart you already know, this is the perfect energy for a surprise opportunity to deepen together. So think date nights, love confessions, romantic visits to homey, comfortable, or even luxurious and beautiful places on the planet, like hotels or beaches or whatever is luxurious and beautiful to you. This is one of the best dates this year for love and connection, and it's important that you catch this while this energy is available if you're open to new love or to deepening love. Note, Jupiter is in a cardinal sign here, so the initiation is in your own inner divine masculine energy within you, okay? We see Jupiter also square to the shaman's asteroid right here, very loose square, but there nonetheless. This can signal challenges in integrating lessons and connection from the past, whether that's a lover, business partner, that's the Libran side, or family, or with a mother, that's the Cancerian side, or with a team. Challenges in integrating lessons that we have learned and about our own emotional truth and connection, whatever that emotional truth is. Now, over the course of the Jupiter retrograde, from November 11th to March 11th, we just came out of that. So many emotional truths were delivered to us in that time frame that couldn't be ignored, downplayed, or twisted to be something else to make others we were connected to comfortable. So many revelations showed up about our connections, our teams, people we work with, our business alliances. And now we're in the time of integration with these truths. And being in a place to live them with intention is a huge part of the leadership to others through our interior divine masculine energy, and a huge part of how we step onto a new timeline in connection. So, where you're clear that you need to operate from a new place, given your emotional truths, this new moon is the time to make those changes. And situationally, you'll have every opportunity to do so. Circumstances that remind you of old energies will arise. With Shaman's asteroid retrograde, there's no way they cannot arise. They will show up. Old patterns, begging you to step into old mindsets, old situations, inviting you to react in old ways. All of that's going to be here. It's going to be right here on the table. Do you want the old food or do you want new food? We will see also a trine to Pallas and Vesta. Jupiter, here's, oops, here's Vesta, not Pallas, but Pallas is there. Nessus, here we go. Pallas, Nessus, Vesta, trine to Jupiter. Whew, got that out of my mouth and highlighted on the screen at the same time. This is obsession with self-protection. So for those who have, in their divine masculine energy, tended to overgive, when old situations and feelings present themselves at this new moon, you'll find you'll have the courage to do something differently with your energy. Now, for those who have typically been too protective with yourself and felt like you're alone and lonely, when really it's you who shut everyone out, you'll find this energy challenges you to do something different in connection, especially if you want to take advantage of this Venus energy here. Okay, this energy is one of several that will show itself as Jupiter leaves Cancer in July, asking us to demonstrate our emotional growth during this transit. Okay, and we have Jupiter speaking to Ceres right here in Taurus. This is where we find final closure. This energy supports us with closing loops and timelines that no longer align with our values. There's nothing to harvest here anymore. I've gotten everything I can get out of that old timeline, that old way of being. So this is really going to serve for many of us, especially with Saturn in very loose square to Jupiter. Saturn also wants us to close out things that no longer serve us, that cause us to operate in ways that undermine us. This is going to be really key for where addictive behaviors have shown up for us in our timelines, whether it's substance or behavior, doesn't matter. Okay. Where we have been asked to devalue ourselves or block out our emotions in order to participate in certain uh, setups for connection and love, or setups for family and teams. If we have to deny ourselves, both Ceres and Saturn are saying no mas. This is no longer the way that you can participate. Okay. This is where we find out we can no longer use our interior divine masculine energy to overfunction where we aren't valued. And I love this for us. I really do. Some of you do too much for other people. You're too open. Some of you do too little. You let other people overfunction and you let other people carry the burden of connection. This Jupiter transit through Cancer, because of the way Jupiter has been speaking to the shaman's asteroid, so much of this, as well as Pluto, this is forcing change on both sides. So you can no longer use your emotions to operate at extremes. Okay. And I love this for us in our divine masculine energy. July is one of several key activation dates that I mentioned this year for Twin Flames that I will be sending out around April 27th for those of you on the private list. So if you'd like to make sure you get those, definitely click the link below. the video to get on the private list. And if you'd like to book for us to look at things in your connection long before we get to that point, now's the time. Since I have availability this month to do so, I want to make sure that we can connect before this availability window closes. I just released a second set of sessions. Like I said, code over in the post section. I'd love to chat. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing, watching, and sharing. And I look forward to hearing how all of this resonates for you when we speak one-on-one. And if you want to leave me a comment, feel free to do so.